Hey friends, we're going to be continuing our Bible study of the Gospel of John right about now. Guys, if this is your first time here, I just want to personally welcome you to the HomeGrown Ministries YouTube channel. I'm DJ, and on this channel I strive to provide you with biblical wisdom and encouragement to strengthen your walk of faith. I don't upload all that often because I've got a wife, 2 kids, and a full-time job, so if you like what you see here and don't want to miss anything in the future, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. It also helps out the channel a great deal, and I really truly appreciate your support. Now before we begin reading in the Bible today, I do want to remind you that if you have missed any of the Bible study videos of the Gospel of John, you can find a link to that playlist right here. For those of you who just want the Cliff Notes reminder, we've been in the upper room with Jesus. Judas has left this discussion, and Jesus has reminded his disciples that he is the only way to the Father, and he has promised them the Holy Spirit. And now we're going to pick up where we left off in John chapter 15, and Jesus is going to talk about some gardening. Wait, what? Did I read that right? Yes, Jesus is going to talk about gardening. So we're going to read John chapter 15 verses 1 through 17. I am going to put the words on the screen for you. I'll be reading from my NIV version of the Bible if you'd like to read along. If you want to read from your own version, that's fine. Skip about a minute and a half ahead and I'll catch you guys on the discussion side. For those of you who are reading with me, let's dive into the Gospel of John starting right now. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself, it must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me, and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other. Okay, so for those of you who are like me who have zero gardening experience, let's talk about why do gardeners prune. I actually watched a pruning YouTube tutorial video, so I knew what the heck I was talking about. But there are 2 main reasons why gardeners prune. The first reason is to remove the dead and diseased branches, and the second reason is to make sure that the plant is even more fruitful by removing those dead and diseased branches. That way it is able to direct all of its energy towards producing on the good vines or the good branches. So one of the first things I want you to notice is that Jesus prunes all of us. So why that's so important is because there's this new prosperity gospel movement that's come out that said, come to Jesus and he'll give you everything your heart desires and you'll be happy. But that's not what he promises. Jesus is telling his disciples very specifically here that if you follow me, you will be pruned. And pruning to the tree, I'm sure, is painful because you're actually cutting off branches. Jesus takes every single one of his followers and works with them throughout time to remove the branches that are not fruitful. So anything in your life that isn't producing good works for God, anything that God wants you to get rid of because it's harmful to your body, he's going to prune from you. Now that may seem painful at the time, but in the long run it's going to make you a better and healthier person. The other thing that's interesting here about pruning is all pruning happens at different times of the year. There's certain times that are good for pruning this type of thing, and certain times that are good for pruning this type of thing. So when we look up to God and say, God, why is this happening in my life now? It's because God's timing is perfect, and maybe he's pruning you to be prepared to be more fruitful in the future. The second thing I want you to notice is that no vine can produce fruit on its own. No branch can bear good fruit on its own. We must remain attached to the plant. So once a limb is cut off, it can no longer produce fruit. Why this is important is because a lot of us like to get involved with projects and things at our church, volunteer, and we think we're doing all these good works, and all we're doing is exhausting ourselves. Even something like this YouTube ministry, without being attached to God and His will, this will go nowhere. This will bear no fruit. So we must first always make sure that we are doing what we are doing for the right reasons. Doing volunteer opportunities and doing things that are very involved in missions or anything with your church can really stroke your pride and stroke your ego. And if you're doing it to promote yourself, if you're doing it to put yourself out there, and you're not doing it because God is calling you to do this or because it's within His will for you to do, then it's not going to be successful. Jesus is clearly stating that you cannot bear fruit, you cannot bear good works without remaining in Him. It might seem successful to the world, but God is saying that that thing is not successful. So I encourage you, before you do any volunteer opportunities, before you go and give of your time or of your finances or of anything, make sure you're doing that prayerfully, and you're making sure that you are doing this under the will of God. The third thing I want you to notice is what verse 7 and 8 says. And verse 7 and 8 says, "If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." So the first part here that you have to notice is that we have to remain in Jesus. And if we do that, we can ask whatever we wish, and it'll be given to us because it honors God. Why that works is not because God's giving us whatever we ask for. It's because what we are asking for is within His will. And because it's within His will, it's going to honor God. And because it honors God, He's going to give it to us. See, a lot of people take that out of context and say, hey, look, this verse is saying God's going to give me whatever I want. But that's not the case. Jesus is saying, you will be granted whatever you ask for, so long as what you ask for is within my Father's will, because it brings glory and honor to my Father. That's super important, because that means although you might not be eloquent, although you might not feel like you're doing good work, as long as God supports you, you will be doing great work for Him. The next thing I want to point out is what Jesus says of a true Christian, and how He identifies a true Christian in verse 10. So verse 10 says, "If you keep my commands, you remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in His love." The true sign of a Christian is someone who keeps Jesus' commands. So what are Jesus' commands? Well, verse 12 shows us what His commands are, and they're so important that they're repeated again in verse 17. So verse 12 says, "My command is this, love each other as I have loved you." And again, He repeats it in verse 17. "This is my command, love each other." You see, it's important to note that you cannot be a Christian and hate anyone. There's lots of people out there who are claiming to be Christians, but it's obvious that they're not, because although they make this claim to be a Christian, they're treating people with hatred. And that is a sign, based on what Jesus is saying, that that person is not a Christian. You cannot hate anyone and call yourself a Christian. And remember the old adage, going to church makes you a Christian about as much as standing in a garage makes you a car. Anybody can claim to be a Christian, but their claim is not what's important. What's important are their actions, and their actions will tell you whether or not their claim is true. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is verse 16, because verse 16 kind of sounds like predestination. So let's read it together and talk about it. So verse 16 says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you." So it sounds kind of like predestination. But here's the thing. God called the disciples. He said, "Come and follow me." But the disciples still chose to follow. You see, people will often point to Paul and say Paul was chosen by God, which is correct. But Paul still chose to follow the instructions of God. And God might be calling you today. But you still have to choose. You have to make the choice to obey Him or disobey Him. Every day you have that choice. Are you heeding the call? I encourage you today to reflect on your life. Reflect on the things that are happening. If you're not a Christian and you're watching this video, ask yourself, is God calling you today? And what is your response? Did you watch this video for a reason? Did it happen to stumble across your lap and this happens to be something that God is using to speak to you? Well, I ask you to, and I encourage you, I implore you to pray about it, to reach out to God. If you do so, He is rich in mercy and He will reveal Himself to you. So guys, I plead with you, don't ignore the call of God on your life because He might be reaching out to you today. Guys, that ends the Bible study for today. I hope it brought you some encouragement. If you have questions or comments, please let me know below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. I can't promise I'll respond because, again, wife, kids, full-time job, but I'm happy to hear from you. And as always, Christian friends, continue to be the salt to the earth, be the light to the world, and go encourage someone else today because the world desperately, desperately needs it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.